Hello, I'm Avery or Hazel or Kylie. You can just pick one, I don't care.
Hello, I am Lily.
And here we go. Welcome to the From the Closet podcast. Today we're covering Peter Pan.
I think Avery
The,
just threw up in
what,
her mouth.
well, what was it, 1952, 1953?
No, it was 1953. That's what it was.
Okay, yeah, the 1953 one. The Disney animated one.
The one with all
So,
these
yeah,
voice actors I don't know.
so obviously this podcast will contain spoilers for that. If you'd like to avoid them, you can go watch the original movie. I wouldn't recommend it, but you can. There is a link below to the Just Watch page for this movie, which itself will have links to all the places you can rent, purchase, or stream this movie.
Because a part of
For us here in
free
the US,
will and right, you can technically go to Disney Plus if you're in America and watch this movie.
and
Why?
probably in some other countries too.
Yeah, probably.
But like Disney Plus isn't available everywhere, so.
Disney should really get on that.
But yeah, so Peter Pan, ugh. Also in the description is a link to our Patreon, where you can vote on future episodes of this show, as well as get access to episodes before they release, as well as early access to episodes of our sister show, Off the Shelf, which is about books, and that podcast is exclusive to YouTube and Patreon. Also in the description is a link to Spotify for podcasters, which itself has links to every platform this podcast is on, as well as links to our Instagram and Twitter where you can be notified when we release a new episode. And now, Lily will spin the wheel to determine what next Monday's episode
Round
is going to
around
be.
around it goes. Where it stops, no one knows. Literally. Request spot.
Oh, fun. Let's see. How has the request slot worked in the past? Because I believe first it was Kiki's Delivery Service, and then the second time it was Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, or was it the other way around?
No, you have it right.
Okay.
And by our last conversation, you implied it would be more like it's just a swapping. Then you would ask someone for a movie.
Right.
And now we have to put in a little bit of silence here because the movie is going to be
Spirited Away. Hopefully I will remember to edit that in.
Hopefully I'll remind you to edit that in.
I may even name my audio file in such a way that it would remind me to edit that in.
We can only hope.
But yeah, so you can join us next week for that and for Dragon Ball Z Abridged Season 3. We are going to be covering Return to Neverland eventually. It's one of the few direct-to-video sequels that I want to cover, namely because I want to cover the Tinkerbell series of movies, and those were all direct-to-video, and it just wouldn't feel right to cover those and not also cover Return to Neverland.
I see.
But yeah, with all that being said, we're going to start talking about the movie now. And oh boy, what a movie. So, before we get into the shit show that is this, I just want to point out that so Peter Pan kind of inspired the look for Link in the Zelda series.
I can see it.
And well, if you go play Majora's Mask,
Hmm.
there are fairies in Majora's Mask,
Yeah.
and their sound effects almost sound exactly like the sound effects that play when Tinkerbell is talking in this movie.
Huh. Well, that's an interesting Legend of Zelda fact.
Yeah, I think a lot of people know that Link was modeled after Peter Pan.
Yeah, but I guess not a lot of people know about the second part.
Yeah,
Okay, there's a lot to unpack
but
with this movie.
yeah, so I'm just gonna go with my notes for starters. We
I
don't
guess I'll
get
play
far into
along.
this movie. Yeah, well, I don't have that many notes. Um, we don't get far into this movie when we have Peter Pan and Wendy's first reaction. I mean, not reaction, interaction. There we go. That's the right word. And the first thing Peter Pan says to her is, "Girls talk too much." And then a few scenes later, we see Peter Pan literally slapping Tinkerbell's ass to get pixie dust.
I mean, how do you get that good stuff to snort?
Let me just be like, before any of the other problems, before, the much bigger problem that this movie is also sexist. And I feel like that's not talked about often enough.
Also, I'm just sorry. I mean, I know Tinkerbell is a girl, but like, I swear she has like the same reaction to everyone else when like they're seeing another girl for the first time. Like, I swear everyone in this movie has never laid upon an eyes upon someone of the opposite sex.
It's weird.
And there's something else about Peter Pan. He speaks with such a childlike glee, and that's the point. But the things he speaks about are less than childlike glee,
Yeah, like, bragging about the time you cut off some dude's hand and fed it to a crocodile.
which that crocodile has now had taste for human flesh. Specifically, this person's.
Yeah. Um,
That's a weird ass crocodile.
yeah, and I also don't understand how Captain Hook was able to stop it from closing its mouth with just his legs. I don't even think Captain America could do that, and I've seen that man like stop a helicopter from taking off.
I mean, you can say all you want about him, the man does not skip leg day.
There is absolutely no way in hell that even if Captain America himself took took steroids on top of the super soldier serum, that he would be able to stop a crocodile from closing its mouth.
Hmm. So isn't that like, if you're able to stop a crocodile from closing its mouth, you basically already won. Because
The
that's how.
the easy thing with crocodiles is keeping their mouth closed.
Hmm.
But once it's open, if like you're not closing it.
Well, I swear,
I mean, sorry. Once it's open, like if you can close their mouth, you're good. But you cannot keep it open.
yeah, I remember, I can't remember if it was crocodiles or alligators, but, like, forcing the mouth open is how you kill it, and I've seen people do that. Could have been alligators, I'm not sure.
There's a whole lot of difference between forcing a mouth to open and preventing it from closing. Like the amount of force required there is so vastly different.
I mean, I think you are hyping it up a little bit because Captain
No, I'm
America
not. I'm
really.
actually underhyping it. Like, you seriously have no idea how strong crocodiles' jaws are. They are ridiculously powerful.
Yes, and I've seen a lot of other powerful things in this world.
Bottom line is, Captain Hook should not be surviving any of this shit.
Well, I mean, I think that could have been obvious when he literally went inside the crocodile and ran back out.
Yeah, none of this makes any sense. But anyway,
I mean, isn't.
back on what we were saying earlier, Peter Pan's a little shit. Okay.
Yeah.
So before we even like fully get all the way to Neverland, we meet Captain Hook, and one of the first things he says is a slur for Native Americans. What the fuck?
I can excuse that because it was a villain, obviously. You know, he is not. He is supposed to be the meanest person we have ever seen. Absolutely pure, vile garbage. Peter Pan doing it, on the other
Except Peter
hand,
Pan's literally worse.
yeah, except Peter Pan doing it probably where we should draw the line here.
I mean, I never heard Peter Pan use that particular slur.
I feel like every time he saw them, he thought about it.
Probably. But in terms of like who's really the villain in this movie, it's Peter Pan. Like he does a lot more fucked up shit in this movie than Captain Hook does.
Then again, Captain Hook says a lot of fucked up shit.
Yeah, but Peter Pan actually does the fucked up shit.
I mean, all the crew, all of his crewmen really want to do the fucked up shit.
Yeah. Um, and I also made a note here calling Native Americans Indians. It's not just Captain Hook that does it. Wendy does it. I'm pretty sure some of the kidnapping victims do it. I don't know why I separated Wendy and kidnapping victims when she is one too. Um,
Um, she gets kidnapped in a different style, I think. Obviously not, but let's just pretend. God,
I also wrote Peter Pan is an unlikable dick who treats his kidnapping victims like shit.
I don't think he treats them that poorly. Treats everyone else poorly, but the kids are at least, I think, they're fed. I can't be sure, actually.
And there's a particular scene where Peter Pan literally tells them to go capture some, and he uses the word Indians, but I'm going to use Native Americans because that's what they are. Um, but I don't know. The tone just kind of makes me think. Do you think they're animals?
You know, actually, now I think about what the fuck is there to eat on Neverland? It's goddamn Neverland.
Crocodiles. Um,
Okay, fair enough.
oh yeah, and then we have, of course, the typical uh, Native American tribes being described as savage.
I mean, I can excuse a certain amount because, hell, a lot of this stuff wasn't even well known back like in when I was in elementary school. and this movie taking place in 1950s.
See, I disagree. A lot of the shit that even like back when I was in school, it was like massively fucked up to call Native Americans Indians, to refer to them as savages. Like it was literally the entire controversy with the movie Pocahontas.
Well, I think I just mean obviously savages too far. I just mean the confusion of Native Americans and Indians.
I mean, I was expressly taught in school why like that name like ever like why they were ever referred to as Indians in the first place. And I was expressly taught not to ever call them that.
In what grade?
In like 6th grade.
Yeah, I remember there's a few grades that just wasn't common knowledge, and I just blame the education system.
I live in the South.
I meant when I was younger, like I don't know, third, fourth, maybe in kindergarten. I'm not entirely. I don't really like remembering those times, especially third grade. But I'm just going off the baseline of my memories here.
But yeah, of course at the same time, my school's mascot was a literal racist stereotype for Native Americans. I think they've changed it now, but it was that
Huh?
all the way through my senior year. So,
That's fucked up.
kind of like sending mixed signals there, school.
Oh wow, that's hypocritical. Amazing. Amazing how
Yeah.
you can get
Um,
so you can say one thing but do just nothing about it. Nothing about your mascot.
well, I mean, I think it was more like the teacher was allowed to like try and like teach things that were accurate, but the discussion around changing the mascot wasn't up to her.
So you think the teacher was just acting more rogue is not the right word, but for lack of better words, rogue to the school's true intentions.
See, I honestly think the school didn't like the administration at the school at the time. I don't think they cared enough to change it,
Hmm.
and the teacher was just doing what she could.
I guess that makes sense.
Like that's the impression that I get. But we finally do get to see the Native Americans in this movie, and
Oh
it is the
Jesus
most
Christ.
racist. It is the most racist, most stereotypical portrayal of Native Americans that I have ever seen in anything ever. I think it literally might be worse than Pocahontas, and that was already bad.
Damn, I haven't even seen Pocahontas. This, I mean, yeah, I'm pretty sure their skin was actually red. Like,
Yeah, it.
and oh yeah, of course
Ugh,
you have like the stereotypical feathers as well.
there's too much here, and like so many stereotypes, like including the thing where like characters start like hitting their mouth to alter like a particular sound. I'm not gonna do it because it's like extremely awful, but you know what I'm talking
Oh, and
about,
we
right?
also don't want to, anger anyone above or below. kind of like want to keep this on the
Or,
internet.
yeah, definitely don't want to anger anyone off to the side either.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, I think see, the funny thing is to me, like you had said earlier, oh, I can see why you hate this movie other than like the racist parts.
Okay,
And I'm like,
other than the racist parts came after, because it was, I think it was actually literally just right when we met, when we saw the Indians. I'm like, oh, okay then.
you mean the Native Americans?
Honestly, by calling them Native Americans, that's implying that's what the hell this movie is. But Native Americans can't be any more different than what was depicted in this movie.
That's fair enough, I guess.
Um, yeah, this is just an insult to everything, really.
Yeah. Also, like the original Peter Pan story, like the book version is a lot more dark than this, but that's typical. That's what you would expect from Disney.
God, I just want to know how much darker. How much darker can you make this?
Well, I mean, let's just compare to another original story that Disney watered down.
Hmm.
The Tale of Rapunzel.
Oh God.
In Rapunzel, the prince was like, okay, basically there was something happened to him. He was never supposed to be able to see Rapunzel again. So he gouged his own eyes out, and Rapunzel's tears cured his blindness.
Huh. Well, that's weird.
Yeah. In the Disney version, Mother Gothel stabs him, and then Rapunzel's tears cure his
Death.
death?
Oh, great. We've been covering too many things where death is curable.
I mean, to be fair, um, there is a whole theory that Rapunzel's powers aren't actually curing or healing anything, but they're reversing time.
Nope. Nope. Kingdom Hearts has already,
Kingdom
corrupted
Hearts
me.
does not matter.
Has already corrupted me with time travel in any capacity. So no,
Kingdom Hearts does not matter.
I do not
But
need more
also,
time travel.
I'm just curious.
Hmm.
What how does Kingdom Hearts implement this movie? Because I know like pixie dust is like a huge deal. It's like why Sora is able to fly and shit.
It's depending on the game. Um, now that I think about it, I believe in Birth by Sleep, you actually do see some of like the huts that you see in this movie, but obviously you never see anyone in them. In fact, you really only see Peter Pan.
Mm.
And I believe that's the case when it comes to 356 over 2 days. Roxas only meets Peter Pan and Tinkerbell.
So does Tinkerbell talk in Kingdom Hearts, or does she like still have those bell sound effects,
I
or is there just never an opportunity for that at all?
I don't believe so. Hell, I don't even think Peter Pan, like Tinkerbell's even in Birth by Sleep. that is the prequel to all things.
See, the funny thing is, like, speaking of prequels, like, obviously, Return to Neverland is a direct sequel to this movie. Um, but all of the Tinkerbell movies are prequels to this movie.
Hmm.
Like, I'm pretty sure we literally see Tinkerbell's birth in the first one.
If you want, after the recording, I can give you some more details if you want.
About Kingdom Hearts or what?
Yeah, just about how it was implemented.
Well, I mean, I don't know if we really will have time for that because we got to record Spider-Man Homecoming later today,
That is,
which for listeners may already be out.
yeah. Um, yeah, it would be.
Yeah. So, I don't know. This movie, I don't know that I've ever seen a more racist movie. I mean, The Parent Trap original had minor issues with racism. Um, but that movie actually had significantly more issues than this movie. Um, like this movie has a lot of racism, a little sexism, and honestly, the songs aren't really good.
And poor songs.
Yeah, I mean, the only really great thing I can say about this movie is it's not boring. Which, hey, at least it has something over the original Parent Trap.
That is true. God, the original Parent Trap.
Yeah.
What?
I don't know. I kind of wanted to watch Peter Pan and Wendy at some point. And, like, this was a complete coincidence. I didn't even know they were making Peter Pan and Wendy. Like, after the wheel landed on Peter Pan, it would still be, like, a few more days before I even heard about Peter Pan and Wendy happening.
Really?
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like I just figured out about it now and really do not care either way.
Yeah, it was just complete coincidence, but oddly
Timed?
well timed.
You can say that, I guess, yeah. And then, of course, there's a lot of Peter Pan property out there. Now I think about it, we have
Oh, yeah.
Return to Neverland, this thing, oh shit! Peter Pan also returns in a different movie, a different game, other than Kingdom Hearts. What was it? It was like Epic Mickey Illusion of Fuckery. But
Yes. Epic Mickey Illusion of Fuckery. Love that game.
yeah, perfect. The game was interestingly balanced to where it was easy, and then it was clenching your balls hard.
Yeah.
But also, it wasn't even Epic Mickey. It was more like the illusionary title of games. But they needed a way to keep it fresh. But the Peter Pan did actually appear, and I think Wendy did too. Talking
Hmm.
about basically just being Peter Pan's mother at this point.
You know, there's also like a theory that like Wendy Darling is related to Alice from Alice in Wonderland in the Disney versions.
Huh.
I can't remember what the relation was, and I can't remember any of the details about the theory either. But I do remember it exists.
It exists. Hallelujah. That would be an interesting theory.
Yeah. But I don't know. I've said all I want to say about this movie. It's extremely racist. It has some sexism in it. Peter Pan's the real villain. Like the Lost Boys are just his kidnapping victims.
They Then you want me to say the ratings then?
Yeah, give us the critic ratings.
So, by that voice, I imagine you actually don't know what the critic ratings are this time.
Not a clue.
Well, it's pretty lucky in this regard. So, IMDb gives it a 7.3, Rotten Tomatoes gives it a 77%, Blu-ray.com gives it 7.7 out of 10, and 83% of Google users like this movie. I said 7 way too many times.
1.4.
Jesus. Now that, God, what the hell is that? I'm trying to think, when the last time we even gone that low? I don't even think did you rate The Parent Trap that low?
I rated The Parent Trap 1.1.
Huh.
Because the only redeeming factor in that movie was the musical number.
Honestly, because I'd rather watch this than a lot of the other things I'm rating below it, especially the Percy Jackson movies, because never again. It gets a 2 at best.
Okay. So join us next week for whatever movie we mentioned earlier, and Dragon Ball Z Abridged Season 3. But until next time, I've been Avery. That has been Lily, and we will be seeing you.